What was that? You want to be a voracious reader with no discipline? Then you're in luck, because that perfectly describes me. I read 50 books last year with zero discipline. If you're someone that wants to read more, here are the 11 habits that make me a voracious reader. Number 1, I identify as a reader. I call myself a reader even if I hadn't read in weeks, hell, even years. When I was an undergrad, I hadn't read for pleasure for 4 to 5 years, but I still identified myself as a reader and someone who reads. As much as somebody would identify with a religion. Maybe you didn't pray that night, but you know that you're a Christian. Maybe you haven't prayed in a year, but you know that you're Muslim. That's how strongly I feel about being a reader. Maybe I haven't read in a week or a month or 2 years, but I know I'm a reader. Reading is what readers do. So it's quite natural for me to just pick up after a long slump or a long time away from reading. The second habit is that I have no qualms with throwing out a book. Page 10, page 3000, 3 chapters away from the end, it doesn't matter. I do not believe in time sunk. If it's not working, it's not working. While I might feel some slight pang of obligation to try to finish a book, I don't listen to it. If you have to finish every book you start, then it makes it scary to start any book because what if you don't like it? So I literally just don't finish a lot of books. I'm looking at like 3 on my shelf that I made significant progress through and I just haven't finished. Number 3, I always have a running to be read list. I never let a book title slip by me. I capture it. Usually it's with screenshots, but the most important part about this is I don't just let the screenshots be. I go through my camera roll ever so often and add the books that I've screenshotted to my to be read list. I always have something that I want to read next, which means that I never stall out. A little controversial, but I'm a mood reader, which means I read based on how I feel. Let's say the news is too heavy. I need to read a light and soft book. I really pay attention to my body around what I'm feeling and what my needs are, not what I should be reading. For example, last year, I really got into reading the history of Israel and Palestine. Felt myself craving deep understanding. So I chased that feeling and I read a few books on the history of the genocide and the occupation. I made it halfway through the book Israel on the Brink, which is really, really a good book. And I felt like I was learning a lot. But then I found myself in the middle of an international move. That was quite stressful. I had to put the book aside because my body just couldn't receive it anymore. What I needed for the moment was something lighter. So I picked up a bright contemporary fiction book and it kept me reading. Being a mood reader leads into my next habit. What I'm feeling and what I'm needing changes hourly. So to support all of these feelings, I sometimes need to be reading multiple books at once. Something to read on the train, something to read while you're commuting, an audiobook, something to wind down at night, something for comfort, something for curiosity, something for mental stimulation, something for emotional regulation. I don't believe in reading goals, but I do them anyway. If I set a reading goal at all, it's very low. It needs to feel encouraging and not stressful. I know the difference between I'm almost there and I'm falling behind. If a goal starts to feel like shame, I drop it immediately. Despite not ethically believing in reading goals, I still do set them for myself. I keep mine somewhere between 5 and 50 books. 5 gives me enough momentum to feel like we're not gonna not do anything this year, but anything over 50 feels like so much pressure. You can figure out your own 5 and 50. Number 7 is that I feel no guilt over buying books. My shelf is full of books that I haven't read and I could not care less. I don't punish my current self for the books that the past me bought. She bought those for a reason. It's like I'll check out 10 books from the library and return 7 of them, but that means that I read 3 of them. That's fine. That's the process. Perhaps the most transformative habit that I have is number 8. When I'm in a reading slump, I go back to my childhood favorites. These books are light, they're easy, they're fun. They oftentimes help me regulate my emotions. They retrain my brain how to read again. I don't call them juvenile. I don't think that they don't count towards my reading goal. They do. They count. I love them. This is the one habit that I will preach to everyone. I keep books everywhere. On reflection, I can see that I've swapped doom scrolling for reading. It wasn't on purpose and it wasn't through willpower. It was just through placing books everywhere so they're super accessible. I have the Libby and the Kindle app on my phone. Instead of scrolling on Instagram, I literally open my Kindle app. I use audiobooks for commute and keep a Kindle by my bed. If a book is visible and within reach of me, I'm much more likely to read it. I always read with a pen. Reading isn't passive for me. I am very alert. I underline, highlight, star, scribble, and I find that the act of holding a pen in my hand while reading makes me more engaged. Am I underlining because I'm engaged, or am I engaged because I'm underlining? I don't know. Am I a reader because I read, or do I read because I'm a reader? I don't know. I like to challenge myself. A few fun books in a row is fine, but I typically find myself craving something a lot deeper. So I like to challenge myself and read very different things, very weird things, and I don't stick to just one genre. Like, I know I love novels with messy female protagonists. Maybe I'll try and find that in a horror novel, which is something I wouldn't normally read. If reading is a muscle, I want to add more weight. And it's not to punish myself, it's just so it's fun. I find that my reading life doesn't go stale because I'm constantly exploring new things. I'm not trying to win at reading, and I'm not trying to optimize it or my life. I just read a lot because I've made it easy, forgiving, fun, and always available. That's how I became a voracious reader. Not through discipline or self-optimization, but just through genuinely enjoying it. If you're trying to read more, I wonder which of these habits you resonate with, which ones do you do, which ones do you think are horrible, stupid, never gonna work? Let me know.